On the 18th day of the month of December, in a late year of a decade past its prime, clickbait suddenly encountered a deadly threat to its very existence, and this terrifying enemy surfaced, as such enemies often do, in the seemingly most innocent and unlikely of places. This podcast. Hi! This is Destroy All Clickbait. I'm Adam. With me is Ing, and
Hi.
This year, and also this week, we have two guest hosts, Spear Havoc and VampiricYoda, our two Twitter pals. Say hi,
Hello.
folks.
Hello, this is Yoda.
Hello.
This is
Yes.
Philip.
Avik.
I actually don't know how to pronounce that other name, so
He used his real
Just Philip's
name.
fine.
Yes, it's Phil. Yes, my co-host on What Mad Universe. Check it out. Anyway, yeah,
I like it.
Avi is a bit busy. Why not check it out? Maybe. Avi is a little busy with some school-related stuff, so we're going with another guest lineup this week. So
we had to bring in two people to equal one Avi.
that sounds about right.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll agree to that.
Yeah. We've got a packed house full of a real peanut gallery going today.
Yes.
But anyway, so okay, so let's go to let's do the Sonic poster.
No. First of all, we have to do an update. One of our last big stories for there were, of course, cow big. Perhaps cow too big. Knickers the cow, very big.
Indeed.
Knickers Australian, big cow.
Indeed.
The Washington Post, however, felt the need to publish the article saying Knickers cow big? No. False news. Knickers cow big? Lies. They actually used the word lies, which drove some people nuts, where it's like, really? This is the subject you're gonna actually make a moral judgment on? And the crux of the argument was, one, Knickers cow big, yes, but Knickers cow posed next to short cows to make Knickers cow appear bigger than Knickers cow big is. Also, Knickers cow steer. As if that was a fucking smoking gun and not just the conventional language that, yes, that is a moo cow.
Yes, that's how we call them. We all refer. If cows only relate to the females? What is the name for the species of animal exactly?
Cattle.
No, but that's a plural. What would you call? Hey, you wouldn't say, "Hey, there's a cattle over there," right?
I mean, yeah, you could, but you generally say cow.
Exactly.
what was
So,
that?
that's what I'm
What was
saying.
that animated movie that had male cow, like male?
Yeah.
Oh,
barnyard. Something. The barnyard.
Yeah, they had udders.
Obviously,
Rain-
it was Animal Farm.
Yes.
It was. Yeah. It was called Barnyard Antics or something like that. And yes, the male cow has a big udder because that's funny, not because it's striving for scientific realism. But yeah, it's the article. Yeah, and it was. I'd like to point out a Canadian cow that trumped the Australian
Yay.
cow. Yay!
Yay.
So that clearly
Oh,
shows
apparently it was just called Barnyard, so
just barnyard.
it's like, what? Yeah, I mean, it took a bit, like, hours, days even, away at the brainstorming retreat, but clinched it.
We stayed up all night, but it was worth every penny. And then it went on to break box office records, as we all know.
Spawn
yeah.
a million sequels, spin-off series.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because I'm using DuckDuckGo now instead of normal Google, I get some odd results there, and one of that includes, the third result was to a website called democraticunderground.com, a just forum topic called Disturbing Cartoon that has exposed cow udders.
Shocking.
Oh, wonderful.
It's one of the few things in life that's never going to get censored, the cow udders. So,
Also,
Although
Going
Tumblr,
back
you never
into
know.
The idea of all of the big cow with the smaller cows, It just gave me the mental image, because I've been watching this documentary series about Andre the Giant and the stuff they do to him in pro wrestling, and how...
And he, of course, notably had massive udders.
Very much so. But no, they used to pose him with wrestlers that looked big, but were actually physically short. Sort of like Sylvester Stallone is jacked, but he's only like 5'6" or something. So they used to do that to him in photos all the time. So this is obviously the Andre the Giant of cows.
Fair
right,
enough.
but I should also point out, it's not like they were being overly deceptive, because in at least one of those photos is also a farmer of presumably average height standing next to Knickers and the other non-Knickers cow. That there is a human there for scale. They're not like putting in fucking teacup poodles of cows trying to trick you.
What if the farmer is, in fact, a little person, and they didn't tell you that?
Yes, the farmer was previously Australia's premier jockey, who of course invested all of his winnings into cattle farming.
As you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so the cows, and as somebody pointed, one of my favorite tweets during all that was just, well, I really hope the internet for the rest of 2018 is just successively larger cows being revealed throughout the world, which is...
Right, and the other reason why Knickers was a goddamn fraud and liar is that Canada immediately came out saying, we got a bigger cow.
Yeah. Because that's us Canadians, you know us. We gotta charge in and, outshine everyone all the time. We're known for that. For our fiercely competitive nature when it comes to farm animals especially.
For your great agrarian hubris.
Well, I mean, if the cow had a hockey mask and a hockey stick, then we could talk.
Yeah. Well, then it'd be impossible to get anything by him. That'd be one hell of a goalie, that cow.
Yeah, no, the story would be, this cow is big and also professional goalie.
There's nothing in the rule books that says a cow can't play hockey.
This is the best sequel to Mighty Ducks ever. Mighty Ducks 4, cow big and on ice?
It obviously ends when they have a genetically engineered duck that's bigger than the cow. And they just battle on the ice, kaiju style.
No, okay, it's a movie where someone finds out, due to some happenstance, that this cow is very good at being a goalie, and it's also a big cow, so of course it's the thing, world's largest cow is also a professional ice hockey goalie, because there ain't no rule that says that a giant cow cannot be a goalie.
The goal has... Yeah.
But, hear me out.
Okay.
The climax of the film, at the championships, the other team reveals that they have a bigger cow as a goalie.
It's the Olympic hockey team. It's the Australians versus the Canadians.
Do the Australians have a hockey team?
I don't know.
And then,
they do. They get to the Olympics for the first time because of their giant cow. That's why.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like Cool Runnings,
of course,
but with
Moo
cows.
Gretzky... Yeah, and then Moo Gretzky, the cow, is all like, oh no, I'm not special anymore. I'm not the biggest cow. And I'm not the only cow playing hockey. And then the team has to, psych them up. They're just like, no, you're still important and special, even though you're not the biggest cow or the only hockey playing cow. And then they lose anyway, because in, just a curveball, it's a Rocky 1.
Right.
Good.
And then they all, comfort Moo Gretzky and say, no, you're still the best, we love you. And then the manager says, horse hockey, that cow's going straight to the butcher shop. And it ends on a real downer.
Yeah.
With the rest of the team, eating burgers.
Because Twist, the manager, is the farmer from Charlotte's Web, and since they didn't win the championships, it doesn't matter that this is a giant, amazing cow. It's going to slaughter.
I do enjoy that the Charlotte's Web farmer is now slowly becoming a recurring character in these podcasts.
Yeah. The history's greatest monster, the farmer from Charlotte Web. The man who's amazed by animals, but they have to be good enough, or else that's it, right to the butcher shop.
Who's amazed by animals, but will still eat them.
Speaking of cows, does anybody remember Kung Pao Enter the Fist?
Yes.
I do.
For those who don't know, it was they took a old Asian like martial arts movie, kung fu movie, and dubbed over the voices and digitally inserted a white guy as the main character as a comedy thing.
Yeah, they did a face replace thing, basically.
And there's a scene where he fights a CGI cow. Mm-hmm. And I just saw the trailer for it the other week because they're playing it at Bad Movie Night next month, and that CGI does not hold up.
It's not a bad movie. It is entertainingly stupid.
Fair enough.
There's one or two legitimately good gags in that movie, but
the cow shoots its milk out of its udders, and the guy does a Matrix, Neo dodge thing.
That probably hasn't aged well. When I was in college, that was the movie my roommate loved the most, and we watched all the time.
Oh God. It's not that good.
I remember seeing it in theaters when it came out. So
it's essentially What's Up, Tiger Lily with a.
To this day, if you say swinging the chain right, I will crack up.
All right, moving on. So the other bit of clickbait from a while back now, because we did miss a show, was the Mars mission one, which had So the headline of this was, Mars missions may be all-female to avoid astronauts having sex during 1.5-year journey.
I also have to stop. This is a complaint we got. We do need to standardize the introduction, say where the thing is from, who it is by, and then the title.
Okay.
Just to make it clear. Yeah. So this is from the Express Tribune.
Yes. It was one written by, it's credited to, quote, news desk, unquote.
Yes, perhaps the best comedic irony, we picked one article where this complaint would not actually apply.
It was vomited up. It's true clickbait because it was vomited up onto the web with no author. It was plucked out of the human Jungian collective consciousness and put on the web. Anyway, so the headline is, Mars missions may be all-female to avoid astronauts having sex during 1.5-year journey, which led to a lot of, online, of course.
This is one of those stories where the phrase, okay, a few things, comes to mind.
Yeah.
Why is this a concern?
Yes.
Like, I get why, okay, you would not want someone getting pregnant while you're sending them to Mars, but it's not like that's an unsolved problem.
Right. Well, that was the thing, because I had a few people comment on, they said, look, the real problem they're trying to deal with is they don't want anyone getting pregnant on a mission to Mars. And then that got spun into, they want to avoid people having sex, and people were like, wait a minute. So, as often seems to be the case with science reporting, you'll hear, the reporters will make it sound stupider than what the actual scientists were saying at the time. That's been a frequent issue with science reporting, unfortunately. You often get very sensationalistic science reporting on something that actually makes sense when you actually delve into it. And in this case...
What I like about this headline is the specifically all-female, because technically you should need only some configuration of genders and external and internal genitalia where reproduction is not possible. But by phrasing this as all females, it's like saying, well, yeah, we can't have all men, because the second we close that shuttle bay, it's gonna be just fucking Sodom and Gomorrah in space.
Well, I mean, that's what...
Why do you think we made the Apollo spacesuit so burdensome to put on or off? Because we could not trust Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin to keep their hands off each other. The minute you get into space, the adrenaline causes the male hormones to raise.
Yes.
And it is just straight boners from there until touchdown.
So you guys remember the bit that somebody did where they had the model or whatever where they were the people were fucking on the top of the pyramid?
What?
Yes. Okay, so you guys aren't familiar with that.
No.
Yeah, somebody.
How is that
somebody
even
took
possible?
On top of the Pyramid of Giza, 2 people fucked.
What? How?
I'll have to look it up. I'll send it to you guys later. But my point
Anatomically, how is
is,
that
I
even...
thought you guys would be familiar with that already, because the point I was making is, obviously if the spacesuits weren't a problem, those 2 guys would have been doing that on the moon.
Yeah.
Doing it
I mean,
on
that's
the...
why the Apollo 11 blew up on the mat there. They couldn't even focus enough to get launched before they just started, clothes went flying, and immediately just the friction from just pounding it ignited the helium tanks, and there you go.
Astronauts do get laid a lot, it's true.
Yeah.
It sets a certain expectation up that they have to maintain.
No, it's not even a matter of do they get laid a lot, it's that, look, once that rocket launched, unless there is some way to stop them, the astronauts will start fucking.
Wait.
It is like the siren's call. Unless we tie Ulysses to the mast, we are going to have a problem, because it is irresistible.
Once you shoot that rocket up, the metaphor is too overwhelming for
Right.
most people.
It's one of the lesser known hurdles to colonizing space. But there's a big one. 1, the cosmic radiation. 2, solar winds. 3, inevitability of fucking.
That combined with the cosmic radiation could result in some weird monster things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some...
This is how you get Fantastic Fours.
This is how you get Life Force.
I mean, I'm not
Space
against
horny.
it.
No, Adam, did you say Life Form or Life Force?
No, Life Force. The movie Life Force.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Which is about a fucky vampire from space, as I understand it.
Yes, which is about they find space vampires, and
Yes.
it does turn people into, irresistibly horny vampires.
Exactly.
This is also not a porn, I have to clarify. This is an ostensibly a serious movie for grown-up adult people.
Isn't
That you are to presumably have watched at one point with your pants on in a public theater. That we want to clarify that this is, this isn't no astronaut movie.
I think horny vampire is
it's
a
even
little
there
redundant.
in the name. No, but I mean literally that. The same joke that I made about astronauts, that they could not stop themselves from having sex. The vampires do that.
Yeah.
Like, the climactic scene has a person wading through, it's like, since it takes place in England, some state building, which is the epicenter of it, and literally just wading through an orgy of bodies all over this public building to kill the main vampire.
I actually have not seen that movie, so I didn't realize it actually pushed it that far. I could have swapped out Species as well for essentially the same joke.
This sounds a lot like
yes.
the Cronenberg movie Slithers. Or Shivers. I keep confusing.
It is in some ways.
Shivers.
Shivers, yeah.
Shivers.
It's about a
Slither
sex
is a different
virus
movie.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. An alien sex virus, aka it came from within, or they came from within. Yes, the first true Cronenberg movie that had all the stuff we associate with Cronenberg.
Plus some other stuff. It was very creepy.
It's very. It's funny how many, when you think about it, how many space fuck movies there are really.
Well, that one I think it was a genetically engineered creature that went loose or something.
Yeah.
Like, for example, a genetically engineered giant cow.
Nobody fuck the cow. Nobody even talk about fucking the cow. I don't want to hear that.
You just
from
opened the Pandora's box there.
If we send astronauts up there with that cow, there will not be a single T on that utter unsettled.
Oh my god! You can always trust Ing to go there.
It will look like the montage scene of Rocky training when he's on the speed bag, only instead of a speed bag, it's an udder, and instead of boxing gloves, it will be astronaut dicks.
It's the final
Horrified silence.
This is why NASA spends so much money on things. spend $2 million developing a pen. It's not so it can write in space. It's developing a pen that it is impossible to have sex with.
Oh, I'm sure somebody could find a way.
Everything needs to be sex-proof. Everything needs to be sex-proofed on the space shuttle. It's like dealing with incredibly inappropriately erotic toddlers. Like how toddlers will put anything in their mouth if they can fit it in, the astronauts will put anything into any hole if they can fit it in.
Oh, God.
This is just science.
How did we get to this pass? Oh! Oh my God.
Next!
I feel like yeah, let's move on, but this will inevitably come up again at our war crimes tribunal, I'm sure. Anyway, yes. So, the Russian robot. You want to do the Russian robot? There was a
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just tie everything to Rocky.
I'm sorry. That got me good.
It's true. Rocky 4 features both a robot and a Russian. But,
yeah, this wasn't planned, but somehow we can tie every story to Rocky. Let's see if we can keep this combo streak going.
Technically, we should have done it, yes. But in this case, so the clickbait here is from the LBC, which is Leading Britain's Conversation. Okay, anyway, it's a news website that is British. The article is, once again, who is the credited author of this? Again, there is no actual credited author to this one that I can see.
Maybe
and
the robot wrote it.
Russia's... it may very well have been written by a robot. Except, why would the robots want to undercut themselves like this? It says, Russia's state-of-the-art robot exposed as man in costume. No problem. And it is so basically the Russians came out and said, hey, look at how cool our Boris the dancing, singing robot, who was at a technology forum, who supposedly could dance and talked about how it wants to get into the arts and musical composition, but they found out that it was a guy in a robot suit the whole time.
Did they get the idea from a big guy and Rusty the Boy Robot?
Yes!
This
is like the stupidest version of that.
This is like the conversation we were having about how C-3PO was revealed to be a man in a robot suit because he was a robot. It wasn't that. He was a robot with a human skeleton. That's what it was. He was a reverse Terminator, basically.
Dear God, that's the most horrifying thing. I can't imagine just that somehow, while Chewie's preparing C-3PO, he, shakes the skull... 3PO's head and opens the faceplate and just a human skull falls out like he's a fucking Cyberman.
Oh, a skull with flesh. It's alive.
Oh, good!
He's a reverse...
Now, to be clear, this skull with flesh is not 3PO. This is a separate entity that is just trapped in 3PO's body as an unwilling passenger.
Anakin, what the fuck?
3PO is basically a walking ambulatory... a torture coffin for this being.
It is Darth Vader.
Look, even in episode 1, Anakin was really fucked up.
Yeah, he was. We should have seen the signs, really, that he was imprisoning people inside robots.
See, this was a cut scene in episode 1. It would have had that young Greedo, would have bullied Anakin. And Anakin, as revenge, killed Greedo's father and shoved him into 3PO.
I thought we agreed that the skeleton was still alive.
Right.
Well...
and that it was human.
Yes, but he temporarily, killed it in the sense that this guy disappeared and is presumed to be legally dead. And he was medically dead for 23 minutes until Anakin brought him back a la a Frankenstein.
Good grief.
That's not even the weirdest thing in the Star Wars canon, so I'll accept it.
Not by a long
Werner
shot.
Herzog's gonna be in a Star Wars movie, so
yes.
that's not
what?
even the weirdest thing.
Oh, did you not hear about
Werner Herzog's gonna be in Star Wars.
No. Yeah. Now, sorry, is he going to be in it, or is he going to direct it? Because I've heard it
No, he's going to be in it.
I think he's being an actor.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
He was in the first Jack Reacher movie.
Yeah, I know. In Jack Reacher, he's kind of he plays a cynical person who, is sort of the dark side of humanity. It's like, if he's going to be an actor, that's not a crazy role to be in compared to appearing on Rick and Morty and some of the other places Parks and Recreation. And then he shows up and now he's going to be in Star Wars, which is the last place I would ever expect Werner Herzog to be.
Yeah, I saw someone joking that Werner Herzog is going to be just filming, like playing himself in the Star Wars universe, filming a documentary about the, environmental destruction on Endor or whatever.
I joked, but I made it up this Star Wars character that I really want to do in a thing that would be Herzog the Hutt, that would be a Hutt documentarian, and just would be very clearly of a Hutt based on Werner Herzog.
Well,
so back to the robot.
Okay. No, I just want to say
How
this.
did we get off topic for such a bonkers story that the Russians made a fake dancing robot?
Because Star Wars. Anyway, okay, yes. No, it was, what I found kind of interesting about that is, it's like, well, those Russians, and they're, like, it's being reported on like it's the Cold War still, and we have to, like, undercut the idea that Russians can be technologically superior to us. And I'm like, how is this that different, actually, from, like, 90% of what Silicon Valley does most of the time? They're constantly...
I just realized, Russian bot. God.
Oh.
Yes, it's literally a Russian bot.
Yes, he dances, sings, and posts racist things on Twitter.
You see, when they said Russian bots influenced the election, I did not expect it to be this.
They danced so entertainingly that we all had to vote for a fascist, I guess?
Now that it is discovered, the broadcast interviewed a journalist. I'm sorry, I can't be more specific. The story is that vague.
Yeah.
Who insisted that the costume they presumed would be something like Santa Claus, that, like, children would think for real, but no one would take them seriously.
Yeah, which I question. But yes, it is a weirdly vague article that doesn't... It's like it's the equivalent of, 2 paragraphs. I mean, it's several paragraphs, but they're like one-sentence paragraphs. And, it kind of feels like they tried to blow it up into a controversy that wasn't one in some ways.
It does actually amuse me that, with a few changes, this would be a really good design for a modern Cyberman from Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
Which, of course, you could then also just do this story directly, with then the revelation there's really a person inside.
Yeah.
But that be played for horror rather than scandal.
And he's saved with the power of love.
Much like a 3PO, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, Moffat's not in charge
fueled by the
anymore.
power of love, much in the same way your Mazda is fueled by the power of gasoline.
The power of flesh is what powers him, because he has a flesh skeleton, as we've established.
What's that blinking blue light? Does that indicate he's connected to Wi-Fi? No, that indicates he's screaming. It never stops.
That's why we didn't give this robot a mouth.
We gave him a mouth, but it's permanently a little smiley mouth. Horror. My life is horror. Why was I programmed to feel pain?
If I sound chipper about this, I assure you this is merely my default voice. I'm actually quite depressed.
Yes. That was a gaming reference I actually understood.
I didn't.
I'm picturing the scene from the RoboCop remake where he's just like, shut it down! And he starts screaming and crying.
I'm sorry, I'm imagining the one from RoboCop 2 now, since we were talking about robots with skeletons trapped inside of them.
That's right.
Where the attempted second RoboCop tears its head off to reveal a skull and then shoots itself in the head.
Yeah, I remember that. I love how RoboCop, non-functional replacement or prototypes like the ED-209, they're always dragged out to perform, and that's when they go horrifically wrong. It's never in the lab. It's always like right as they're rolling it out to show to people.
Okay, but to be fair,
yeah.
Okay, this might make sense though, because if they perform poorly in the lab, they wouldn't get to a place where they could be shown off. Like, you don't take the robot that just, like, immediately shits its own engine block out. You take the one that does seemingly work.
Uh-huh. But it's so bad that it was immediately driven to commit suicide, and yet somehow that never came up in the lab at any point.
Okay, but to be fair, in that movie, that was in the lab. That wasn't them going, and now, RoboCop the second, I'm a monster! And he kills himself at the press conference. No, that was the lab of them trying to make another RoboCop and it not going well.
Well, I thought I remembered that scene being like, maybe, like it was internally, it wasn't the press conference, but I thought I remember that scene being like, they made it with a big fanfare and it walked out and killed itself. But maybe I'm misremembering, I don't know. But yes, there's like 3 or 4 RoboCop 2s.
That would be a fucking baller move for somewhere. It's like, wakes up as the RoboCop, decides that they want to kill themselves, but they're gonna specifically fuck over some executive, so they pretend that they're mentally sound there until they can get onto stage, and then do it?
Yep, exactly. And there's, yeah. Well, I mean, the ED-209 with live ammo definitely didn't play out as well as it could have, so there's that.
What's worse with that demonstration is that it was armed with blanks. It was just really powerful guns. Blanks can still kill you people. Important gun safety.
Okay, thank
Our sponsor this week is the NRA.
Don't use blanks. Use real bullets for safety.
Even a blank could potentially kill someone if fired the right way. That's why I keep 12 guns in the house, in case some sort of maniac tries to bring blanks in.
Bring bullets to shoot the blanks with. That does sound like them. Anyway, so another bizarre and short article that's here is the Irish article from the Irish Post. This one actually has an author. It's Gerard Donaghy. And the article is, the headline is, Irish woman who married ghost of 300-year-old pirate says they have split up. Which...
Now, the real question is, would the husband get aramoni?
Oh my god.
No.
This podcast is over. This is the end of the podcast. Aramoni.
Okay, but people have pointed out this is literally a Star Trek The Next Generation episode.
Yeah.
Holy shit,
God,
it is.
Yeah! Oh no!
Unfucking Dr. Crusher started fucking a ghost that was haunting a candle that had previously had sex with every female member of her family, including most recently her grandmother.
Yes, I know.
That has to be either season 1 or season 7.
It's 7.
It's season 7.
It is season 7.
Yes. And what's hilarious about that is, looking at it now, I realize that's really a Doctor Who plot, not a Star Trek plot.
Oh, don't do Doctor Who
I'm
dirty
gonna
like
look that up when this stream is over. It might be on YouTube because what the fuck?
Okay, no, correction. That's a Torchwood plot.
Okay.
Fair.
Oh god, I forgot about Torchwood.
Oh, Captain
I forgot
Jack.
That was a thing. Captain Jack.
Wait a minute. Was
the
Captain Jack an astronaut? And that's why he wants to
Yes!
fuck everything.
That, you are correct. He's a World War II era fighter pilot / astronaut.
That
And
explains
wants to fuck
everything. And they didn't give him one of those big spacesuits.
He wasn't protected. He's an astronaut. Ghost pirates want to fuck everyone. Astronauts want to fuck everyone. It's a real...
The golden age of piracy, the pirates were wealthy enough from plunder and booty to have their own space program, is a little reported historical fact. They would launch up rockets made of the finest wood and pitch tar in attempts to get to the moon to, and I quote there, lay siege and pillage the moon men. And of course failed for all the obvious reasons.
They were instantly turned into ghosts, but then they became horny space ghost pirates. So, who's writing this down?
Never say the phrase horny space ghost because My mind went to a completely different space ghost.
Yeah. Well, yes. There's the space ghost we all know and love.
The split is another blow for Jack after he was purportedly executed for thieving on the high seas in the 1700s.
Adding
I do
insult
want
to
to say
injury.
I enjoy the fact that apparently there's no statute of limitations, so that they say he was purportedly executed. The alleged pirate. We wouldn't want to be sued for slander.
We don't know if his great-great-great-great-grandchildren will want to get Sue happy.
Okay, this is a quote from the previous wife. I will explain all in due course, but for now, all I want to say is be very careful when dabbling in spirituality. It's not something to mess with. I actually really want to hear what her story is to explain that line, because there's no way that's not completely bug shit crazy.
You might get fucked by a pirate if you dabble in spirituality. It's a very real danger.
This sounds like a...
The only thing I can extrapolate from that is she's saying, yes, like, contacting the dead, seances, all that work, it's completely legitimate, but don't mess with it because you might be catfished. I thought I was marrying for love. He was just trying to get a green card to re-enter the land of the living.
Oh my god! Wow! That's a horror movie premise for you.
Honestly, that sounds like if you're gonna make a sequel to Beetlejuice, but not use Beetlejuice, that sounds like something that setting would do.
Guys, can I float a title?
Sure.
Okay.
Rosemary's Anchor Baby.
I'm imagining like a Ouija board, but it gives like text message, like Netflix and chill.
Yeah. It's the Ouija board is
We
moving
just
to
see the
eggplant emoji. How did that
Damn
happen?
it! I was just gonna say that we see the Pinochet just slide over to an eggplant
Wait,
emoji.
guys, I got let me float another title real quick. Mail order corpse bride.
Oh!
Nice.
That's a good one. And the sequel to the Christian Mingle movie is really out there.
Wait, there was a Christian Mingle movie?
Yes! Yes, there was.
Yes.
Okay, and it was...
Okay, Adam.
I feel like it needed
And-
to star Kevin Sorbo, though.
No, here is the plot synopsis.
Okay.
For the Christian Mingle movie,
Yes.
produced by Christian Mingle as a tie-in, like, advertisement, whatever. A woman who is not Christian
Uh-huh.
goes on Christian Mingle because she saw the commercials and how happy the people were, so she tried to find love by going on Christian Mingle despite not being Christian, and thus has to fake at being a believer to attempt to woo her match.
Uh-huh.
That's the plot
And
of
it,
it.
of course,
Okay.
converts her to
That's their
Christianity.
step forward with advertisement. That's seeming like saying Christian Mingle. Yeah, be cautious there because people are liars, and even though we're Christian Mingle, there may be people just pretending.
Okay. So, boy, that's a very interesting way of marketing their product. by putting it in a movie about deception and explaining that, suggesting that it's all just to get laid. Does she? I am assuming she converts to Christianity and she's won over by her wonderful. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. I thought that's a thing. It seems to be a thing in Christian circles. What they call quote flirt to convert. The idea that you can.
Oh God, I hadn't even thought of that. I was just
No, that is a legitimate thing. I've had that happen.
But okay, here's where it gets really wild and what the fuck. You know what her job was?
What?
Ad executive. And we have someone in advertising was swayed by the people in a commercial seeing happy to go so far as to catfish someone for Christian Mingle.
Congratulations, you played yourself. That would be something if she was literally the ad agency who made Christian Mingle. And she sold herself
Folks.
first on the idea of getting laid, and then she converted herself to Christianity. That sounds like Scott Adams level of self-deception, basically.
Folks, Jesus catfish.
Exactly.
It's really good.
Jesus fish.
Oh!
Yes.
Now I want the Jesus fish just to say cat on it.
Yeah.
I'd put that on my car.
Mm-hmm.
So wait, here's my other question, though. We have one other thing, though, before we move on to the next one. How do we tie the ghost pirate into Rocky?
Oh, right. You're supposed to do
Good
that.
question. All right, so we got to think.
The ghost pirate.
The ghost of Apollo Creed has swooped in and taken the love of the living woman, thus bringing Carl Weathers back for Creed 3.
Now,
Well,
yeah, now
Stallone did
I'm
play a
now I'm
space
disappointing.
captain in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
There we go.
Right.
So he was actually a space pirate.
Right, you're right. He was a space pirate. Has he ever played a ghost? Has Stallone ever played a ghost? I don't believe he has.
Well, now we have to naturally assume that character was indeed Rocky, whose career took an interesting path after beating Ivan Drago.
Yes. He spent a few years in space, then came back down to train Creed and never mentioned it.
Which also explains where the robot came from and went.
Oh my god, you're right!
Oh yeah, I love in Creed he doesn't know what the cloud is, but he gives his friend a robot a few years earlier.
Okay, guys.
Okay, no, wait!
Guys,
What if it was an actual thing in the Rocky movie that robot was just a guy in a costume?
which is really
And, like,
disturbing
finally-
because it gets reprogrammed from being a generic robot voice to being a sexy woman to seduce Burt Young. So that poor human being.
Yes.
And then, he's paid
catfishing.
really well to go along with this, just to basically robo-catfish Burt Young there. And then when finally Burt Young dies, we get a whole, steam comes off from the seams as the suit opens up, and a very disheveled and exhausted Warwick Davis comes out and, just goes up to Stallone and said, "Okay, pay me."
Okay, guys.
We did it.
Before we go...
You have no idea how much overtime I earned from this.
Before we go into the next one,
Yes.
I googled Sylvester Stallone ghost to see if he ever played a ghost. And I'm about to drop this into the Discord.
Okay, oh my god.
Sylvester Stallone wanted Apollo Creed to appear as a ghost in Creed 2.
Oh my
yes!
god! It does work.
I was
about to say, I was grossly disappointed that in none of the Creed movies, Apollo Creed doesn't show up as a fucking Force ghost.
Well, apparently he was going to.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Creed 2 yet, now I'm gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, inevitably.
Apparently the director straight up said, "Stallone, no, I am Lucasing you."
What?
Basically,
Wait,
you know,
is that the term he used?
No, that was my
Oh.
term. I wish that was the term. Because of
But what-
in the Creed movie, Stallone only had very limited creative control.
Okay.
The directors were the ones that did it. So apparently they filmed a handful of things for Creed 2 that were just
to appease.
were to appease him. Including, apparently, there was a filmed brawl between Drago and Rocky in a hospital
Okay.
that didn't get into the movie, and I'm really looking forward to the DVD for that.
Okay. Is Creed 2 worth watching? It is a good movie.
Yes.
I heard kind of mixed things. I mean, Creed was really good, but I figured this was
Creed
gonna have
2
to be a step
is very predictable. You kind of know every beat the movie's gonna do.
Up until the end, where Drago and Rocky are, of course, fighting in the industrial factory, and it looks like Drago's gonna kill Rocky, but the robot jumps on Drago's back and pulls him down with him into the molten lava and says in a sexy woman voice, "I understand now why you cry."
And then right at the end, he takes the helmet off, and it's been Burt Young all along.
Yeah.
Well, now I gotta see it. So it truly
Hey,
is
you're a
the
wrecking
Rocky Four
machine.
of the franchise. Yeah.
No,
You
no.
know,
then he
underneath the
removes
robot
the head.
Is the skeleton of Mickey.
Oh, I was gonna say he removes the head, and what is there? The skeleton of Apollo Creed. Holy shit, there was a good chance that we basically could have had a scenario where, in the Creed movies, technically, if they brought in Apollo Creed as a ghost, his son could pilot an Eva.
or a Jaeger.
Yeah. No, but remember, the Jaegers are powered by, the Evangelions are powered by ghosts.
Okay. So, yes.
Well, Michael B.
Well,
Jordan
this
does
is-
like anime.
Yeah.
He does.
This is the jokes people were making about the Rocky sequels as they got into like number 4, and everyone was like, "Yeah," and the next one, Rocky's gonna fight aliens, and Rocky's gonna blah blah blah. Like that was, I remember that was the go-to joke in like the late '80s about all the upcoming Rocky movies they were gonna make, and how he was gonna get, you know, more and more fanciful and ridiculous. So
You say that, but I still would have loved that,
Oh.
especially if that.
it would have been great. It made me go, "Oh, I kind of want to see these movies now." But
They
it's
were
Yeah,
making
I
those
would've
jokes in
fucking
the
loved it
70s,
if, like,
actually. I remember the Canadian comedy show Wayne and Schuster had a bit about Rocky 5 or something, and he's a really old man and coming back into the
Yeah.
ring, and it's...
and hey,
Yeah, I mean, jeez.
that's what happened. He got old.
Like, they just keep going for more and more what the fuck until technically Mortal Kombat could be a Rocky sequel.
That would be, yes. But I don't...
Now, tell me, as stupid as that sound, you would not love to see Sylvester Stallone boxing a 4-armed demon.
Of course I would. Are you kidding? We may get it in another Guardians of the Galaxy movie now. It's theoretically possible. He wasn't a big sci-fi guy during his heyday, but we can now see him in the Marvel movies. In the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yoda, you know this. Has there ever been given any explanation why the fuck that robot was in Rocky?
He was the present that Rocky bought for Paulie.
No. I mean, I know, like, where it came from, but why was it in Rocky? Like, why was that idea
It was supposed to
used?
show how Rocky had more money than God and was just blowing
Okay.
it on dumb shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's because everybody was
See-
on cocaine.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, I
Also,
get it.
in theory, I think they might have wanted to try to market the robot.
Right. Yeah, it's one of these things where an executive was like, "Kids like the Star Wars. How can we get some Star Wars into that Rocky movie?" You know, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how that...
Also, Rocky's friend wants to fuck the robot. Rocky's friend is an astronaut now.
We're doing a better job at tying in the fucky astronauts.
As one does. That's like when Kevin Smith was always complaining about his script for Superman Returns, and they had to put a sassy robot in there
And the
I
fucking
thought
spiders.
and a spider. Yeah, exactly. That opened my eyes to how Hollywood works, and whenever there's something that's just totally incongruous element in a movie that makes no sense, it's because some executive was obsessed with getting it in there for some reason or another.
Although,
I'm sorry, Yoda, a
although
second
having
ago you
read-
said tying the astronauts?
Yeah.
That brings it into
Oh,
a whole
tying
nother
in the
le-
fuck-
Yeah.
I just meant tying in the fucky astronaut theory, but...
No, I'm just saying it.
God.
screw ancient astronauts. The new conspiracy theory is
Yeah.
fucking astronauts.
Yes, they do screw ancient astronauts if they can.
Oh god, no, you have
Boys,
to
we're
say-
going to go see the stone face of Mars and just absolutely blast it.
Oh my
So,
god!
actually, has anyone here besides me actually watched any episode of Ancient Astronauts?
Yes.
Oh,
You know
yes,
how the guy
yes, actually.
pronounces astronauts? Astronauts?
As-
Fucky astronauts. Done.
Is that the guy with the crazy hair?
Yeah,
and the,
he
who's
actually
always in
has
a
a
gif?
he has a very heavy accent and usually pronounces it astronauts.
Well, that's appropriate then.
Yeah.
Astronauts.
So what's the next topic?
Okay, well then there's one about Ebenezer Scrooge, and how he it's called How Ebenezer Scrooge Got Rebranded as a Capitalist Hero. In Time magazine, of all things, by Brad...
Time magazine has actually been a repeat offender.
Yeah, it's got some... And, I mean, it's by Brad Tuttle, by the way, this article. It talks about... Now, this is one of these articles, I think, where they sort of said, wink, wink, look at what a ridiculous concept this is. But seriously, though, don't you like this concept? Like, it's one of those kind of things where they have plausible deniability about how ridiculous it is. But they're just... But, they're trying to say, oh, yeah, it's just a joke. You wouldn't take this seriously. But it's trying to plant the idea that Ebenezer Scrooge is actually the hero, and he's a great guy, and you should admire Ebenezer Scrooge.
As written by Elon Musk.
More or less. As written by some capitalist bootlicker, anyway. He's been warmly embraced by some free market purists, is what the article says, who hold up the old miser as an emblem of shrewd, clear-eyed business savvy. I mean, these are the same people who thought Gordon Gekko was the hero of Wall Street, so it's probably not surprising that they would do that to Ebenezer Scrooge, who was clearly not intended to be the hero of like, Charles Dickens was not a capitalist, or at least he wasn't
not at all.
Let's hear it for capitalism type of guy. I mean, I guess he wasn't a... Was he literally a socialist, or was he just a guy who knew capitalism was bad?
I don't know if he was literally a socialist. I do know that he purposefully wrote his works to be anti-capitalist in media that the working class had easy access to.
Yeah.
So the theory goes that he was trying to, like, spark the flame.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that was certainly a thing. You could be a socialist in the mid-18th century. It was a big thing. But I mean, and obviously, A Christmas Carol is, I think, doesn't he literally have a whole speech in the actual book? Not in any of the adaptations, of course. But he literally has him say, sort of, the boss is the one who controls everyone's happiness, and it's up to them to be, to provide us with happiness or unhappiness, basically. Which actually isn't a very radical notion, but he's still at least acknowledging all the problems with capitalism through that. Anyway,
I believe so.
Scrooge is a self-made small business owner. He is undeniably a buzzkill around the holidays, but he also comes across as an altogether good businessman, an honest, responsible moneylender. I mean, I guess somebody who'd give you a fair deal on a mortgage. What? No, he wouldn't. The whole point is that I guess they're going, well, he treats his employees like garbage, but he'd give you a good deal, which I guess is probably true. He's literally, his defining trait is stinginess.
Yeah.
That's what he's known for. His sins essentially consist of lacking generosity. No big deal, I guess. He may be a stingy, miserable old crank, but he's not a Christmas criminal in the League of the Grinch, or the thieves in Home Alone.
What?
That's what it says!
I would sooner trust the Grinch than Ebenezer Scrooge.
Well, he's true that the Grinch... See, the argument here, clearly, is that the Grinch does not respect individual property rights, because the Grinch steals stuff, whereas Ebenezer Scrooge does not. He is stingy. They both have a change of heart, but the Grinch is actually going out and stealing people's Christmases, and is therefore more easily typed by, I guess, Wall Street types as a villain. He doesn't engage
Despite that, Scrooge was literally going, fuck the poor, they should die.
Yeah. But that's not dishonesting. That's not a dishonest business practice. Which is exactly the problem. The fact that is...
Except also in context, Ebenezer Scrooge was basically a slumlord.
Right, exactly.
So he was being dishonest in that.
Ebenezer Scrooge actually had a specific job. I always thought he was just banker or something.
No banker.
He was a landlord for a lot of the money.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
That would make sense.
And specifically an absentee one. because his houses were, like, the absolute slums.
Right. Because, of course, he would not pay to fix them up, and he wouldn't do any more than was absolutely necessary.
But he charged outrageous rent and interest on missed rent.
So, in other words, so he'd give you a fair deal on a mortgage, apparently, this one. But supposedly he's honest and responsible to this guy. But anyway, so you can see Scrooge is a pillar of the community. A man whose money lending helped people bankroll homes and businesses. By extension, the argument goes, Scrooge and his ilk were partly responsible for the Industrial Revolution, which boosted local and global wealth. I mean, the guy writing this article has very clearly... Well, again, he's giving it...
Except by Dickens' view, it very much didn't. It increased squalor and sickness for people.
Uh-huh.
Like, no, that would be a point of fucking against him.
It's I mean, and again, it's... The article writer is, like, distancing themselves from it, but it's all this sort of, what do these champions of free enterprise have to say about, It's a Christmas Carol? And they're all being...
What they're saying is there are not enough ghosts in hell that could get me to part with my money.
Exactly.
I will stare Jacob Marley in the eye and walk backwards into hell before I part with 1 shilling!
But guys, I think you're missing that we could switch over here to a new Ghostbusters sequel.
Actually, there
Right.
was, the Ghostbusters cartoon did do a Scrooge riff in one episode.
They did. They did an episode where they went back in time and accidentally busted the 3 ghosts before they went to Uncle Scrooge.
You know,
and it
I
ruins
vaguely
Christmas
remember
in the future.
that.
Yeah, they ruined Christmas because Scrooge does not reform. So they have to go back and, like, fake the 3 ghosts, basically.
I enjoyed that apparently in the Ghostbusters universe, Charles Dickens was just writing non-fiction.
Non-fiction. Yeah, well, Sherlock Holmes shows up, too, and he's a fictional
It's a League of
character,
Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Guys, I got a good idea.
Yeah.
Guys, I got a good idea for a Ghostbuster thing
Yes.
to tie into this, and rather than the Ghostbusters accidentally bust the ghosts of Christmas past and whatever, what if the Ghostbusters, like, offered a parole deal for 3 ghosts who would play this role, and then they release the ghosts on some asshole?
Right. There you go. He who controls the ghosts controls the future.
But I think we are, before we move on to whatever the next topic is, if there's a next topic, we have to figure out how to tie Rocky into the ghosts.
Well, we've already established Apollo Creed is a ghost.
Yeah.
I just think that it should have, Sylvester Stallone show up in Scrooge's room and just start punching him like a punching bag until he reforms.
No.
Guys!
Rocky is the Scrooge character.
Yes. He gets visited...
Now, I was about to say, this sounds like what the fuck casting, but hear me out on this. Sylvester Stallone cast in an adaptation of Christmas Carol as Jacob Marley.
Okay.
Okay.
Why Jacob Marley specifically?
'Cause I can kinda see it.
These are the chains I bore in life, and I force them link by link.
Yeah!
What is it about Marley specifically that makes you think...
I don't know! I
Because
just
Marley
got the
is
thing
obviously
there.
buff from all of the chains he carries.
Yeah.
We need a buff old man.
I just got this image of fucking Rocky Balboa as Jacob Marley tormenting this old man.
Can the old
And just
man be
screaming.
played by, what's his name?
Schwarzenegger.
Okay, that's a better idea
And
than I
then
was
just-
going with, but yeah.
And then just screaming at
Are
him.
there
but-
no workhouses? Are there no orphanages?
But Marley, you did not do anything wrong. You were a good businessman. My God was my business! Just shouted in the same way that he did. I am the law!
Oh, just the entire cast of the Expendables for a Christmas Carol.
An Expendables Christmas Carol!
Jet Li is Tiny Tim.
Yes! Exactly. Dolph Lundgren is Cratchit.
Oh God!
Bah humbug.
You know, as much as I don't like him personally, Chuck Norris is the ghost of Christmas Future.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, he wouldn't talk in that case. Because he is death.
Oh my god! Wait, Mr. T as the ghost of Christmas Present.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, that actually
Come in, man,
works.
and know me
in
better.
a non-ironic way.
I remember
Come in, man,
the
and know me better.
WKRP show did a Christmas Carol episode, and they had Venus Flytrap as the ghost of Christmas Present.
Okay, guys, so I just Googled Scrooge while we're sitting here talking.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, Ice Cube has been tapped to play Scrooge in A Christmas Carol.
Nice. Hey, I'm there.
Oh, wait, it's the Mirror putting this out, so it's probably bullshit.
Oh, boo.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm upset.
I would have
Well,
seen
way to
that.
raise my hopes.
Who wouldn't watch
How
that?
about an all-rapper
Exactly.
named Ice with Ice in their name production of Christmas Carol? Vanilla Ice, Ice Tea, Ice Cube.
Ice-T is Marley, yeah. So who else?
Yep.
Vanilla Ice? Is he the ghost of Christmas?
Obviously, Snoop, even though it doesn't fit, Snoop Dogg is the ghost of Christmas Present.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And Tupac can be Marley. I mean, can be Jacob Marley.
Oh god, Tupac. No. The ghost is constantly switching appearances between Tupac and Biggie in a way that it seems like each of them are vying for control over the same being.
No, fuck it. 2 Marleys, like in a Muppet
Like
Christmas
in a Muppet,
Carol.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you
I was
go.
gonna say.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway. Okay, so Ebenezer Scrooge. Okay, so there's one last...
Also, just as an aside, the Muppet Christmas Carol, the Marley song is good enough. It actually makes me disappointed. It isn't canonical that there are 2 Marleys, so they can't just use that in every version.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, but there's one more thing we got to talk about, and I think that's the Sonic the Hedgehog poster that hit the internet just recently.
Which one?
Which one?
There's two. There's 2.
Yes, there are 2. There's a grim and gritty silhouetted Sonic poster, and there's one that's and there's one that's sort of between his legs, and it's really disturbing.
That's Quentin Tarantino, Sonic a Hedgehog.
Honestly,
His
I'll
legs
say
are
this
so
much.
far apart, it makes no sense.
Because it's showing off his feet, you see.
I don't dislike what I'm seeing, but I think the Sonic movie is very much going to be what the Mario movie was for our generation. The Sonic movie is going to be for kids now. They're gonna look
Okay,
back at
so
that.
you mean a wonderful, underappreciated treasure?
Yes,
don't
I
even
agree
go
with
there
that.
with Ing's love for the Mario Brothers movie.
I
Yes.
just think that that it's gonna get panned, but the people that bother to watch it are gonna go, "That was weird, and I enjoyed it for its weirdness." I think, like Detective Pikachu, it's gonna sit in that weird spot.
You know what's I tweeted this. You know what's legitimately causing me anxiety every time I see it?
What?
That Sonic is apparently wearing sneakers with no socks.
Well, does he have...
You're doing extensive running, Sonic. You're going to get all sorts of foot rot. It's bad for your soul.
Also, the other thing that I noticed with the Sonic...
Like, he takes off that, and there's just gonna be huge, bulging hedgehog blisters on his heel. No, you
God.
need socks, Sonic.
Maybe we
Also,
can have
apparently
3
there was a
ghosts
big
visit Sonic
argument
and tell
in
him
the
to wear
design.
socks.
Yeah.
We need to
There's
save
a big
your
argument
soul.
between Sega and the movie producers over Sonic's eyes,
Yeah.
because apparently Sega was going hard on, no, Sonic has one big eye. And the director's like, no, I'm not doing that.
No, because that would look absolutely fucking horrifying,
Yeah.
realistically rendered.
Yes.
Why does it have to be realistically rendered
But,
at all?
yeah, apparently there was a big argument between Sega.
I don't know why, but...
Yeah, we're not getting a realistic blue anthropomorphic hedgehog, so you can pretty much go
I mean,
nuts.
we are, which is the weird thing.
I still
But
think
it's
that...
not real. We're getting the Uncanny Valley hedgehog, is what we're getting.
I still think that it's bizarre that in 2018 we're getting a Sonic movie, rather than in, like, maybe 1996.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, but it wouldn't be a Sonic thing if it wasn't, like, at least 5 years behind the zeitgeist?
it's more like 20.
And trying to play catch-up?
That's true.
Yeah.
I just hope that we get the hideous movie Sonic as DLC for Smash.
Yeah. It's kind of... It seems like somehow the Garfield movie and the Marmaduke movie that kind of gave birth to that thing, and they kept kind of looking around for what animated characters can we put into CGI movies with live action characters.
Oh, there's also Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah.
And
Rocky
Yogi Bear.
Bullwinkle.
Okay, but...
Yogi Bear, yeah. So it's like this. They're running out of that, so they're going with Sonic the Hedgehog now. Because he does... And this is the thing about Sonic the Hedgehog, because he has been very popular in comics for decades. Even after, like, I can't remember the last time I heard about a game, but he's, as a character in games and in cartoons, he seems to have quite a following. Yes? No?
Yes.
Yeah. And of course the famous, there's a furry overlap in that group.
There's a very dedicated astronaut fan base, we'll say. I'd say as a difference for the style-wise for Detective Pikachu,
Right.
despite being realistically rendered, Detective Pikachu stuff is really on model.
Yeah. Very
And
carefully.
just relies by the fact, yeah, these are monsters, so they're gonna look weird, but just make them look realistically weird, where Sonic's realistic design gives him, like, a human-proportioned body, rather than his actual on-model design, which was inspired by, like, 1910-20s cartoons.
And have people seen the older picture that they released of an earlier model that they had for this movie?
Was that
yeah,
with the
Chris
Chris
Pratt.
Pratt
Where
one?
he looks, I mean, not great, but a
Yeah.
lot better than, Leg Day Sonic in the...
Leg Day Sonic.
I didn't make that up, sorry.
Yeah, though that original, the design they had with Chris Pratt, and Chris Pratt is not in the movie, we should be emphasized. It's just being done, apparently it was
Just so they can rob us of Chris Pratt and Blue jokes.
Yeah. Oh, God. Well, he was, that was the proposed, and then there was a list of potential actors to both play, quote, the human, and the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog that was leaked. And if I'm not mistaken, Chris Pratt was on both lists, and it was also, who else? The
Paul
same
Rudd,
guy
I think.
who ended up... Yeah, Paul Rudd. Did they...
Also-
Go ahead.
No, guys, also in going back to the context real quick of Sonic being well behind the times, you guys are aware that Jim Carrey is playing Robotnik, right?
Yep.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, Jim Carrey is playing Robotnik.
So this is a 90s movie, you're right. This is the movie they've been wanting to make
Wait,
since
are they
96.
using Robotnik or Eggman?
I think
I'm
they're
not
saying
sure.
Eggman. That's what I've read.
They are?
Okay.
So, what's the difference between... I don't know anything about the games. What's the
Okay,
difference?
God help me, I actually know this. So,
Okay.
when Sonic was introduced as a character, basically, Japan had its whole thing, this is the origin, and they never communicated anything with Sega of America and let them do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Sega of America wrote up their own origin and everything, actually, several of them, which came up and licensed into comics.
Okay.
The Japanese name was always Eggman.
Okay.
The Americans picked Dr. Robotnik instead.
Uh-huh. Which is...
For some reason, we weren't content for that to just be a regionalization thing.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, Sega demanded that they switch over to a consistent use of Eggman.
Mm. So that's... It's kind of like Bowser and King Koopa, then.
Yeah, and kind of the explanation for that is that apparently, and I had to look this up, it has been decided in both regions, Ivo Robotnik is his given name, Eggman is a nickname and title that stuck.
Okay. Does he throw eggs at people? Is that why he's known as Mr. Eggman, or is it...
No, he just looks like an egg. and he does enjoy eggs.
Okay.
So he's like
enough.
Egghead from Batman.
The explanation...
You see,
Yeah,
I would have so preferred...
The explanation for it is that Eggman started out as an insult from Sonic, and Robotnik fucking owned it, and made it into his whole brand. I swear to God, that's the explanation.
Mm-hmm.
So, is this movie gonna have a cameo by Obama chuckling and talking about the Chaos Emeralds?
I hope so. Jim Carrey kind of disappoints me as Eggman.
Well, Jim Carrey in general disappoints me, but...
My ideal casting for
Other than
Eggman would have been
fucking
Danny DeVito.
Yeah, I was about to say, other than dragooning Danny DeVito into doing this, I can't think of any other good replacement.
Well, what was all that talk today about how they needed to get Danny DeVito for Detective Pikachu? And he should have been Pikachu, apparently? And, I mean, I agree
that was an internet campaign to get him to be the voice of Detective Pikachu, to which his response was, "What's a Pikachu?"
Oh, right. Yes, I remember that. Yes. What's a Pikachu?
Oops, I dropped my
DeVito,
monster Pokeball for my Magnum Dong.
Have you guys heard about the girl who took a cardboard cutout of Danny DeVito to prom?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, no. She just took a cardboard cutout of Danny DeVito to prom, and it went a little viral. So Danny DeVito made a cardboard cutout of her and took her to the bar.
Yeah,
guys, Danny DeVito is Eggman offering you an egg in these trying times.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I really hope Detective Pikachu casts, and I mentioned this before, I'm sure, casts Danny DeVito as a Chansey, a Pokemon whose whole gimmick is giving people eggs.
Okay.
In trying times, because its eggs have healing powers, so it gives out eggs to people who are hurt.
Okay. I didn't know there were Pokemon, so that can heal the other Pokemon? Is that why?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, neat.
Why does Sonic have the, Chris Evans Dorito shape? That should not be.
Yeah, he's got, like, fur, but he's also got the pointy bits that have fur on it, which may or may not... Oh, okay, I guess that is big clumps of fur. Or spikes, whatever. He doesn't look very spiky, does he, this version?
You have to clarify big pointy bits, because we've been talking both about the Sonic fandom and astronauts. So people are gonna take the wrong idea. Hold on, I do want to see, before we go, what were some other names floated for Sonic voice?
Yeah, there was a list of them that's out there.
Andy Samberg, Adam Devine, Paul Rudd,
Mm-hmm. Paul Rudd is
Charlie Day.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no one too surprising, which
No.
kind of disappoints me. Hold on! Possible casting for, air quotes, Tom, Michael B. Jordan, hello.
Rocky.
Well, there you go. Except he's...
And Justin Timberlake. I'm
Justin
sorry.
Timberlake, this is a 90s film.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. In what brainstorming session do you wind up putting those two names on the same list for the same character? Something has gone wrong.
That being said, I would actually go see that movie if Michael B. Jordan was voicing Sonic. I actually think that's not bad casting.
Also, wait, because I just thought of something, and this bugs me. Why isn't Julia White just voicing Sonic?
I don't know. Yeah, this is always the problem when they're like, oh, well, now we've got to the point where... I assume that's the voice actor who voiced Sonic, for the most part,
famously,
right?
there's that thing with, for Garfield, he was voiced by Lorenzo Music on the cartoon, who also played, Bill Murray's, character in Ghostbusters on that cartoon.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Bill Murray played Garfield.
And then Bill Murray, of course, stole Garfield from him.
Right. And it's like, why not just get Lorenzo Music, who is the classic voice of Garfield? Why not get the original voice? And it's not like people aren't going to see it for whoever's voicing... unless it's like... Yeah, unless it's someone who's like a really good stand-up comic or something, and they have like a really distinctive voice, and it doesn't really make sense to just... Nobody cares who the voice of Sonic is. They care about who the human they're sharing the space is with, which is why you have a human co-star for Sonic. So
I mean, the Transformers movies, they go with the what was his name? Cullen?
Yeah. Yeah, the guy who did I don't know,
Optimus
the
Prime on the cartoon,
Optimus
yeah.
Prime and all the original, yeah.
So that's a point in their favor.
Yeah.
A point.
Right. 1 point. But yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, like it's weird that he did that and not with, and they generally don't when nobody cares, or if people do care, they care about hearing the original voice. That's like DreamWorks and their notoriety of casting, like in Ants and stuff, and they cast all celebrities and everything, and even if they had like 2 lines, and they could have just cast a voice actor, which Ants featured Sylvester Stallone. Ties it back to Rocky.
There we go. So anyway, I guess we're tying things up here.
I think that's about it for Destroy All Clickbait this week.
Yup, and I'm losing my voice.
I think Ing is almost dead. Funky Astronauts got him, so... and we want to say thanks.
Adam!
Yes?
It's happened. I'm dead. I'm free. I'm gonna go see if that Irish divorcee is still single.
Go get your green card back to the land of the living.
Yeah, don't forget your pirate hat. She only fucks ghost pirates.
Ingstronaut. And on that bombshell.
Astronauts.
Alright, let's end this.
Buckle in, fellow astronauts. We're going to Uranus.
How did we get
Tommies.
this long with about funky astronauts and we only just now made a Uranus joke? Anyway.
I'm proud of us for holding back that.
Well,
quite honestly, Adam, because I wanted it to come in at the end.
Yes, fair enough. End on a high note. A happy ending, if you will.
Oh.
And on that
All
note,
right,
drift off into the cosmic realms and fuck some astronauts and ghost pirates, folks, because we're done for the week. We'll see you again. Have a happy holiday. I think this is probably...
Chase your bliss, find your big cow hunter.
Find your big cow hunter and your weirdly muscular Sonic the Hedgehog for the furry. I just realized they probably did that to appeal to furries. I'm just realizing that right now. Making the muscular Sonic. That's what that's about. Oh my god. It's for the furry crowd. On that disturbing note, let me run like a blue hedgehog over the horizon and get out of here. Good night, everyone. From me, from Ing, from Phil, and from Yoda. We're all saying good night and putting an end to this madness. Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.